Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of my F1 22 My Team Career Mode for round number 9. Today we are at Paul Ricard. So, let's get into it. Try to ignore the 30,000 stripes around the circuit and we'll get going with the Pirelli Hot Lap Challenge. We've chosen the checkpoint one this time, and unfortunately though it didn't actually go so well for us. For the first time, we were only able to achieve the bronze target, so I won't be choosing this one again. But yeah, I don't know if I'm just out of practice with the supercars or what it is, but I have not been able to get the golds recently, so yeah, that's difficult. But anyway, we'll move on towards the end now as we run out of time, and yeah, we, as I mentioned, only could manage a bronze, and that was with taking as many shortcuts as we could get away with, let's put it that way. But regardless, that does still give us a small boost financially and in terms of acclaim, so no complaints from here. But yeah, the gold distance is incredibly hard, which I guess makes sense, but I also maybe wonder if it has something to do with the car you're given, because not all the cars are equal. Maybe it's easier in some cars than others, or maybe some cars are just impossible. Not sure, but anyway, we move on. This is now the end of free practice 3, and I don't normally even show this screen as we get all of our R&D goals from practice ticked off. We managed to successfully complete all of them, which is usually how practice goes. It's not usually an issue, which is why I don't bother showing any of it. But the reason I'm going through all this time is something kind of not random, but let's just say coincidental happened. If you look at the acclaim levels on this screen, we level up, Piastri levels up, and then the team levels up, all after one session. Unfortunately, it's not enough for us to unlock any more sponsors. I think we need level 15 for that, but it's odd for all of those three things to happen at once. Anyway, we now switch to R&D. We get an upgrade, a weight reduction upgrade to the monocoque structure on the chassis department, so that will make the car a little bit lighter. I wanted to work more on the power unit and the aero, but those departments are full at the moment, so chassis is the only way we can push forward with R&D at the moment. So I guess that's why we've gone in that direction. So anyway, we get into qualifying now. Another new livery. We've added a splash of blue this time, given that this is the engine supplier's home Grand Prix. We've got the Renault engine, so we're flying a bit of Alpine colour on the car this time. And to begin with, I actually didn't really like this livery that much, but throughout making this video, it's actually really grown on me, and I think it's probably one of my favourite ones that I've ever actually made for this career mode so far. So yeah, I'm actually really happy with how this turned out in the end. But regardless, we need to focus on the job at hand. We're in qualifying now, so we need to try and set some good laps and yeah, try and get out of Q1 if we're lucky. Qualifying's always been a bit of a struggle. And the race is where we can potentially capitalize a little more, so yeah, we'll see what we can do. We come around to complete our first lap, and we go slowest of all, unfortunately. And here's where, I've noticed this before, but I've not really made a particular note of saying it. The tyres we get for qualifying, we get 2 sets of softs, a set of mediums, and a set of hards. And presumably, I think if we get into Q3, we unlock another set of soft tyres. But that makes no sense. Who in the world would use hard tyres in qualifying? For a start, I genuinely believe that these are actually the tyres intended for practice, and the tyres we get in practice, which include 5 sets of softs and 1 set of mediums, are the ones intended for qualifying. I think they've reversed the order of those and are still yet to fix it. So what that means is, even if we get into Q2 on this second set of tyres, as we've just made a mess of the first couple of corners, we won't have any tyres left to use in Q2. So I don't really understand why how or why that's happened. There's never been a problem with tyres in the previous games, but they've somehow flipped those around. And yeah, I'm 90% sure, 99% sure we've got practice tyres in qualifying tyres in practice. Because, I mean, it's strange in practice as well. You don't need 5 sets of soft tyres and 1 set of mediums in practice. And even as we go slowest, by the way, Piastri outqualifies the 2 Canadians though, Lance Stroll and Nicholas Latifi, with Bottas and Schumacher also knocked out. But yeah, in practice, I've seen the AI use hard tyres, which are not even an option for us. So there's confirmation that, you know, there are hard tyres, you know, meant to be in practice. But anyway, enough complaining about that. Let's get into the race.
Hello and welcome from the Circuit Paul Ricard, current home of the French Grand Prix, an event dating all the way back to 1906. Now, it's been held at many venues over the years, with famous moments from Dijon and Manicourt, the feature of many a highlights reel. So let's hope we see more of those in the race today. The Circuit Paul Ricard then, a 3.6 mile track, 25 miles east of Marseille. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, with the main overtaking chance expected to be going into turn 8. Top speeds today should be around 205 miles per hour. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. It's Sergio Perez on pole today, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Carlos Sainz, and Norris, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Ocon, and Pierre Gasly, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Mick Schumacher, and Albon, Joe, Bottas, Sebastian Vettel, and Daniel Ricciardo, Oscar Piastri, Stroll, the Scientist, and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Alongside me to discuss all the action today is Natalie Pinkham. Thanks for joining us, Natalie. And tell me, you were down in the pit lane earlier. How do you think the track conditions are today?
Well, the surface looks clean enough, but I'm a little bit worried about the track temperature. It's pretty cool out there, which could give some teams difficulties when it comes to keeping their tyres in the right operating window. The cars out there that work their tyres hard and really put a lot of energy through them, well, they'll be the ones that are better off.
Okay, this is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix, so let's give them a race worth watching.
Alrighty, well, after all that, we're ready to finally get into the race. A little further into the video than usual, but regardless, strategy is kind of interesting. 2 mediums to hards is a viable strategy, which is interesting. Tyre wear seems quite high, and I mean, look at the slope on those soft tyres when we put those on. They don't look like they're going to last too long, so yeah, it's tricky. I think we're going to go with the soft 2 sets of mediums. It is faster in theory, so yeah, that is what we will do. But yeah, the hard tyres, I don't even want to touch those really. With the lack of downforce and overall grip our car has, I don't think they're going to work. So soft 2 sets of mediums I think will be the strategy for us. Interestingly, those stints seem a little bit sort of skewed. One is shorter than the other, so I don't know what the deal is there. But anyway, we'll worry about that when we get to the second pit stop. Lights are out and we're underway for the French Grand Prix, and it's an okay start for us. Great start for Piastri. He absolutely launched off the starting grid like a rocket ship. Nicholas Latifi was penalised down to last place for some engine components. He immediately makes amends for that, gets past us, and we drop down into 22nd position. They're going 3 wide in front of us, with Daniel Ricciardo mixed up in there as well. Not a great start for him, as they resolve it at least into 2x2s by the time we get to the next section. We'll see if we can maybe feed the car down the inside here as we get into the right hand. We'll just have to protect the front wing a bit there and not knock it off on the Aston Martin car, but we do get through and make 2 places on Lance Stroll and Nicholas Latifi. Sebastian Vettel, the Aston Martin, in front of us, so we've overtaken the 2 Canadians.
No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
And thankfully no damage for us, as we've got a nice little train here on the inside line. We'll have to hold them off for a little while longer, but now we're on the back of Sebastian Vettel. Bit of wheel spin on the exit and a slide, and that will spoil our run onto the second half of the back straight, as now Lance Stroll and Nicholas Latifi are really getting hungry. Latifi tries to go to the outside. We have a bit of a moment there through the right-hander, but Latifi not backing out. He's still right on us, but we should be able to hold him off here and start to push forward. Once again, Sebastian Vettel is the target. He is our rival. We've got Oscar Piastri in front of us, and you know, in the same car and the same tyres. If he's able to hold these guys back, maybe we can make a few positions, but I won't be surprised if Piastri starts going backwards soon. We still have the worst car by a small margin, so yeah, it's going to be difficult for us at any circuit.
Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Taking care of them.
Our chassis and durability are the slightly stronger parts of the car, by which I mean we're I think second and third worst in those departments as we go down the inside of Sebastian Vettel into that same corner, so we're able to get through that section quite nicely. And I guess that makes sense. Lower speed section of the circuit really suits our car with the better chassis, and yeah, we're able to make that work. But Sebastian Vettel coming back at us down the inside as we head into the chicane. Can we flow it around the outside? Yes, we will, and we'll take the apex. No space left there for Sebastian Vettel, so thankfully he wisely chose to back out of that one, and we're going to try our best to leave him behind. But that was a close one. Meanwhile, up ahead, Daniel Ricciardo and Oscar Piastri fighting it out side by side, and Ricciardo making the move around the outside. A bit of a moment for Piastri on the exit, and that's given us a run as we now look down the inside of our teammate, and we're not going to make the move there. We're not quite close enough, as we also were slightly having to cover off Sebastian Vettel. He's right on us too, but Oscar Piastri now has released Ricciardo. Ricciardo is probably going to blaze off into the distance. That McLaren's pretty decent, but we'll see if we can chase down our teammate now, who has yeah, just slowly been losing a few those
separates you. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 5 laps old. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. Time last lap was a 1:39.5, and you're closing by 4/10 a lap. Keep it going.
Just an update on Piastri there, cutting me off, but meanwhile we're having a great scrap here with Sebastian Vettel as he tries to go around the outside of the flat out right-hander, and he's still there. He's really putting the car on the line out there, but we leave him the space he deserves, and he is not able to hold it through for the entire time. But he actually got front wing damage somewhere in that fight and had to come in for a pit stop, so I don't actually know when that was, where in that fight we made contact, but however it happened, he got front wing damage. That's Nicholas Latifi making the move down the inside, and we'll see if we can come back at him, but yeah, that was not a great moment, to be honest. I'm not sure. I don't know if we just had a bad lap and he caught up, but I feel like we should have better pace than Latifi. We did you know, hold him off earlier in the race, but yeah, we're really struggling to re-overtake him, as we're having a great scrap though through the first sector, but unfortunately things don't get any better for us, because now it's Lance Stroll going for the move as we go wide, and maybe it's just our tyre wear is not as good as the Williams and the Aston Martin, as we're trying to hold it around the outside, and we're still just got the nose in. We're a little bit off circuit there, running wide, but we're just also trying to give him some space. But we'll get the move done, and once again hold off Lance Stroll through the left-hander. But now he's coming back at us, and we're side by side, but it's actually our lap to pit, so we're going to box and head into the pit lane as Stroll cutting straight over the pit entry line there. That was a very late decision for Lance Stroll to come in to the pit lane, so I don't know if he'll get in trouble for that one, for cutting the pit entry line, but yeah, Lance Stroll, I don't know if he just saw us heading that way and thought, I'm not going to let them get the undercut. Not sure what exactly happened there, but regardless, Lance Stroll making a pit stop on this lap as well, and we are in the box too.
Attaching the left rear wheel. I know it's not ideal, but let's try and put that behind us now and get back into this race.
And another pit stop issue. Goodness me. Just because we didn't have enough of the Red Bull ring a while ago. My goodness. They get the wheel back on eventually, but that took them a little while longer than it should have.
Okay, 1 stop to go. Just 1 stop left in this strategy.
We get going again then out of pit lane, and Sebastian Vettel's got the undercut on us despite having to make a front wing change, so we did stop quite a bit earlier, so yeah, we will need to try and re-overtake Sebastian Vettel at some point. So yeah, we'll have to see. This is on board with Sebastian Vettel a while later. He gets a double overtake done on Piastri, and that was Zhou Guanyu there. And he was scrapping away with Piastri before that happened. Unfortunately, the news won't get any better for Piastri because Zhou makes a move around the outside, and then Lance Stroll has a look in as well, and he also gets past. So Zhou, I think he started on the medium tyres and went longer, which is why he's suddenly back with us, but on the softs he will be able to drive away. Now it's our turn to have a go at Piastri down the inside into the final corner. I love making this move. It's a nice sneaky one you can get. And we get ahead of Oscar Piastri, just carrying the speed nicely through the penultimate corner. And oh, Kevin Magnussen has got the front left wheel off. How did that happen? We're on board there, and oh, he's run into the back of one of the AlphaTauri cars. I think it was Pierre GASLY, who was off circuit. We'll have to see exactly how all that played out. Big lockup now on board with GASLY. Comes back on circuit right in front of Kevin Magnussen. That is a dangerous re-entry if I've ever seen one. My goodness. Why was he coming back onto the circuit at such an aggressive angle? That was, yeah, very desperate from Pierre GASLY, and Kevin Magnussen. No time to react to that. And the Danish driver is out of the race very suddenly there. The blink of an eye, his race comes to an end. The safety car is out, and we are in to the pit lane for our second pit stop. And I didn't notice, which I'm very annoyed at now. We're going onto the hard compound tyres. If I knew that, I would have switched it to the mediums, because Sebastian Vettel is in the pits on the same lap, and he's switching to mediums too and going to the end. So yeah, that's really frustrating, because I didn't even, like I said, I don't want to touch these tyres. I think the mediums definitely can go to the end. So, I mean, obviously the medium tyres can go to the end. Vettel's on them and he's going to the end. He's not going to make another stop from here. So, yeah, we're stuck on the wrong compound of tyre. We're just going to have to try and make the most of it. And hopefully we can take advantage of the battles up ahead. Piastri doing a great job holding up Vettel there. We get past him. And now let's see if we can get past Sebastian Vettel. Down the inside, Vettel turns in right almost to the apex there. Left us hardly any room. But you can see now on board with Piastri how little room we had on the apex. Fairly significant contact made. So yeah, we really squeezed onto that quite tightly. We paid him back at the next corner and just shoved him all the way to the inside, and he had to lift out of it. He comes back at us at the chicane, but no overtake for him there. And we're able to hold on to the lead. But yeah, that was an aggressive little fight with Sebastian Vettel, and it's not over yet. He's down the inside into the chicane, but we can brake so much later here. The confidence into this part of the circuit is sky high, and we're able to hold him off through there, even when we're slightly behind going into the corner. So we continue to push on. Sebastian Vettel continues to hound us from behind, but we're just going to cover the inside slightly there, and we'll just do whatever we have to try and hold him off. Team radio.
Concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
And still no damage to the car after there's a little bit of contact we made, and there's not really any aggressive curbs around this circuit, so we don't need to worry about that too much. It's only other cars we can really run into and damage the car as we continue to hold off Sebastian Vettel through the middle sector chicane, and once again we keep the German behind. So we just need to keep up this defensive drive basically. He's got a great run this time though, and he's through as we try and duck into slipstream for a brief moment. We couldn't really get there, but we go down the inside and make the move into the braking zone anyway, and get the job done once again on Sebastian Vettel. And he's now behind us. We had to go so late on the brake. He turned in very aggressively there, despite the fact we were well and truly down the inside. He had a moment on the exit which spoiled his run onto the next part of the straight. And as we continue on through the race, this is Yuki Tsunoda going for the big lunge down the inside. Nice move there from Yuki Tsunoda, and aggressive and clean, gets the move done, and not long before he gets past us. We were briefly up into P11 there for a moment as everyone else made their final stops. So while we were in that position, if anyone had a problem in the top 10, we could have been having a look in for some points. But unfortunately that's not the case anymore, as Tsunoda got past and now Vettel is through as well. So yeah, that battle may be over unless we can come back at him right here down the inside. No, we have to wait for a little bit longer. Now down the inside into this late apex right-hander, and we get the move done through that corner that just seems to never end. There's always another apex to hit, and we got to the final one first, and we get back ahead of Sebastian Vettel. That was a little aggressive, but we gave each other room, and the battle still rages on as we continue to fight. Big lunge down the inside, and we will maintain the position. We've been very aggressive, but Vettel is our rival, so if we can beat him in our rivalry, we get that big acclaim boost for doing so. But it's getting very sketchy. Mick Schumacher gets past us, but I'm not really worried about him. Ultimately, there's no difference between finishing 11th or 19th as long as we finish ahead of Sebastian Vettel, who's in the pit lane again for a front wing change. So that's unfortunate for Vettel. Didn't see where he made contact, if it was with us or with Schumacher or someone else, as we go for the lunge on Pierre GASLY, and he will get back ahead of us.
No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
So yeah, we're really sort of still struggling even as this stint goes on. These hard tyres are starting to phase in, but yeah, we just don't quite have enough to fight it with the cars around us, which makes sense, I guess, because this car just flat out is not as fast as the cars we are racing, and that is Fernando Alonso out of the race. So I think that'll promote Tsunoda into the points. Alonso was running in the top 10, but Tsunoda was the car in 11th, as he overtook us for that position earlier on, as we fight away now with Valtteri Bottas. But we were a bit deep into the right-hander of the chicane, and Bottas may be on for the switchback here as we run along the second half of the back straight. And here comes Bottas down the inside. We're going to be wheel to wheel as we head into the flat out right-hander, and we'll maintain the position ahead of Bottas. He has to lift out of it, but as we continue on, he's going to come back at us once again down the inside into the chicane. He gets through, and this time I don't know if we can fight back, but we'll try around the outside, and once again we'll get the car to the right-hander apex first, and we'll get back ahead of Valtteri Bottas. Much smoother on the exit this time, and we're able to stay ahead. But unfortunately the battle comes to an end as we make a bit of a mistake once again through that flat out right-hander. We just sort of missed the apex, had to downshift a gear to get through, and that allowed Bottas through. It's all it took, but we will see if we can fight back now into the final corner down the inside, and we'll get there first and get back ahead of Valtteri Bottas. We're having a great scrap here with the Alfa Romeo driver, but he's got the inside line as we head into the first corner. It's just still fighting away between the two of us. Probably not doing us any favours in terms of our ultimate finishing position, but I want to see if we can hold off as many cars as we can. And Bottas now gets through. Unfortunately, we have a look to the inside as we are also a little distracted looking back, but Bottas now through. We'll see if we can get a good run onto the straight, going for a late apex here, and that does give us a nice traction and a good exit through this next right-hander. Though we choose a bit of a different line here, but it doesn't work for us at all, and Bottas gets a much better run onto the straight. We do get DRS, but that is going to be more useful for us in holding off Alex Albon, who's now going for the move down the inside as we continue on in this race. Bit of contact there in the braking zone with Albon, and thankfully I think we get away with no damage, but that was a sketchy moment there with Albon, as I think we both jinked in different directions in the braking zone. So a little bit of dangerous driving there, but thankfully we get away with it. This time we try and get back down the inside of Albon, but he's got the move done, and we just continue to lose places. Very aggressive over the inside there, and yeah, thankfully there's not really any, I don't know if I mentioned this, not many places around this track, or if any, where you can actually obtain floor damage from running over the curves. There's not too much to worry about in terms of that kind of thing, so that is one good thing. If we do cut a corner too much or run wide, we won't have to worry about the floor, only yeah, just running wide and losing time basically, as we are doing there. So yeah, we're on the back of Albon still. We'll see if we can potentially make that move into the final corner that we've made a couple of times now. Our car is really good through that last corner, and once again you can see going for the move down the inside and just turning it at that last apex much earlier, carrying the speed through the previous corner, and we get the job done. Meanwhile, up ahead, Max Verstappen wins the French Grand Prix. Nicely done by the Dutchman. He takes another this season, with Charles Leclerc in hot pursuit in second place. Not quite Leclerc's home race, but it's just next door. I'm sure he would have loved to have taken first. But second ain't bad, as we still fight away down the inside and almost banging wheels with Alex Albon. But we'll get back ahead once again. And well, not quite. Bad exit for us, and Albon's through, so we may finally lose this position. He's a fair way ahead of us as we head into the flat-out right-hander. We move on then to the final few corners. This is our chance to get back past, carrying the speed once again. Dive down the inside. Albon gives us the room. All we need to do is get good traction on the exit, and we'll get the place back. And we do get nicely on the power. We get the DRS as well, and we will retake the position as we now head to the line. And that is
that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
all the fighting we needed to do to finish 14th. Nowhere near the points in the end. Danny Rick gets the driver of the day. That was a tough race.
So as they climb out of the car, the Red Bull team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly deserved win. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, tyre management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So, being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls, gentle on the tyres, that's where the race was won today.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
So it is Max Verstappen who takes the race victory here at the French Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc finishes in second position, with Lewis Hamilton taking third for Mercedes.
So let's review the updated driver standings. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Natalie Pinkham, come on, who do you pick?
Daniel Ricciardo certainly impressed me today. An incredible performance.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. And pulling further ahead in the standings, it's Red Bull. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
Well, there we have it. The end of the French Grand Prix. Let's have a little run through the points finishers. Of course, podium: Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Max Verstappen has just been so consistent lately. He's just become unstoppable. Carlos Sainz, decent run to 4th position, followed by George Russell in 5th. Lando Norris in 6th. Sergio Perez 7th with the fastest lap. He really got screwed over by the strategy. In the end, he was one of the last to make a pit stop, well after that final safety car. So yeah, that really was not very well managed by the Red Bull crew there. Danny Rick takes 8th position, so he made great progress in this one, coming from 18th to 8th, so 10 places gained for him. Fantastic stuff. P9 goes to Esteban Ocon, and Yuki Tsunoda takes the final point. In terms of the drivers' standings then, a few things shuffle around. Sergio Perez drops to 3rd behind Charles Leclerc, who moves up into 2nd position, and Lewis Hamilton overtakes George Russell for 5th, Russell dropping down to 6th. So that is the changes for the drivers' standings. We remain in 10th position for the moment. Kevin Magnussen behind us by 2 points. He did not make the end, and Fernando Alonso 9 points ahead. So yeah, I don't think anything's going to be changing there too much in the near future, but we'll see. In terms of the constructors' standings then, once again, not a ton of changes. In fact, no changes. Red Bull still lead the way by 76 points over Ferrari. In terms of us in the constructors' standings, nothing has changed there. We're still down in 8th position with nothing changing. So that brings an end to the rundown of everything or from this round in terms of points. So we're off the road there. But yeah, tough round. I think if we were on the mediums, maybe we could have had a chance of fighting it out with the likes of Sonoda, and trying to take that final point. But fortunately, that was not the case. We beat Sebastian Vettel in the rivalry, or continue to outscore him in that department. So things looking good there as we rush through these end screens. Nothing really too important at this stage of the season. We will need to start saving money at the end of the year, or towards the end of the year, to sign a driver for the second season. But that's not to worry about for now. Facility upgrades are our main concern. So I mentioned an episode or two ago we had that durability department event, which did not give us the results, or it did not tell us what impact our choice would make, and now we find out. We get a boost of 1,000 acclaim and lose that 500 resource points, so probably not worth it in my opinion. Yeah, just not really going to be particularly helpful. That is a lot of resource points for... I don't know what these quantitative amounts of acclaim are, to be completely honest. Like, we have the progress bar, but I don't know how much that actually fills it up. Is 1,000 acclaim like half a level, a whole level, a quarter of a level, a tenth of a level? I got no idea. But yeah, acclaim, sort of just takes care of itself, I think. I don't know if we... I mean, from these daily... What are they called? Activity timeline events. My goodness. I've forgotten how to speak. The point is, we get plenty of acclaim from those, I think. One department we haven't really touched is the marketing department, and we're going to go for an upgrade to that, to the activities management, and that will increase the effects of those activities I was just talking about. So we roll through the activity timeline then, and we get a double upgrade failure to the aero department and the power unit department, the two departments in most need of development. We're going to repurchase the aero department, the winglet one, that failed, and we'll have to leave the power unit for a little bit longer. We continue through the timeline then, and we get that marketing department upgrade to that facility, and all the activities, even the ones we have active at the moment, will have increased effects, which is great. But also, what is also great is that we now have more money, and we can purchase an upgrade to the personnel department, which is probably much needed. The one I'm going to go for is the pit equipment upgrade. So your pit crew's ability to perform stops quickly without mistakes, and it's an upgrade to that. So yeah, pit stop performance will be slightly improved. It costs 1 million credits on the dot. So yeah, that is what we are going to go for. We continue through the timeline again, then that overwheel winglets upgrade does get fixed.
Completed without issue. They'll be on the car, ready for the next race weekend.
So yeah, we lose a few resource points out of it, but it'll still be on the car in time for the next race. We have a personnel department event.
How do you want to handle this?
And this one is pretty interesting, because, long story short, Piastri wants to basically train harder, and the trainer says, hey, no, that's not really a great idea, mate. You don't want to overwork yourself. But I think we'll go inside with Piastri. It will increase his focus by 10, which is huge, and decrease his awareness by 10. So he'll potentially make more mistakes, but when he's fast, he'll be very fast. So I think it's worth the trade-off. I don't know this for sure, but I think just the way the stats work, I think the awareness thing is only temporary. I certainly hope so. But the focus, I think, is let's call it semi-permanent, as we can now do one of the remaining 2 activities on the timeline. We're going to go for the 4-day vehicle PR filming. Gives us money and team acclaim. But yeah, I think the focus effect is permanent. I think it will stay so long as he continues to get, you know, good results, and we continue to improve his focus in the activities. Whereas I think the impact to the awareness may only last a race. That is certainly what I am hoping for, but I guess we'll find out. But anyway, we continue through the timeline. Then we get that pit equipment upgrade.
I've been informed that the department has just completed another facility upgrade. I've sent you a message with the details.
So that is good to get that. Can't afford anything in terms of the other departments at the moment, so that is all for facility management. For now, in terms of R&D, can we finally upgrade the... no, we can't fix the power unit one yet. Wrong department. Power unit is the one we are looking for, and no, we're a few... literally, we're a few resource points short, which is rather frustrating, so that one's going to have to wait another round until after Belgium, and then it probably won't be on the car until after Italy. So I was hoping we could get it on before Monza, where power is important, but unfortunately I don't think that's going to be the case, but I guess we'll find out. Anyway, I think as we go through the timeline for the final time, that is it for this one. So, but one more thing quickly, I just want to explain my little theory about why I think the awareness effect from that department event is temporary, but the focus boost is permanent. We've got Piastri's stats here, and you can see some of them have pluses and minuses alongside, but the focus just has a smiley face because it's quite high at the moment. So my theory is that the base stat on the left hand side for awareness hasn't changed. There's another menu we can look at where his updated, or I guess current awareness will say 55, but here it still says 65, so it hasn't actually changed that. His awareness is still 65, it'll just be 10 less until that effect wears off. On the other hand, the focus stat, that was 72 before and now it's 82, so that physically has increased the base stat there. So that is why I think the focus change is permanent, and so long as we keep that focus up, that change will stay around forever basically, and which is why I think working on those activity timeline events and working on his focus is so important. On an unrelated note, Mick Schumacher has a focus of 22, so he's really not having a good time at the moment. And I think I've been talking for long enough now, so I will say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Feel free to give me some feedback in the comments, it is always very helpful. Other than that, I will see you next time. Goodbye.